Sometime later, Samson fell in love with a woman called Delilah. Delilah was a Philistine living in the Valley of Sorek, near Samson's hometown of Zorah. The rulers of the Philistines went to Delilah and said, "Entice Samson to tell you what makes him so strong and how he can be overpowered. Then each of us will give you 1,100 pieces of silver." So Delilah asked Samson, "Please tell me what makes you so strong and what it would take to tie you up securely." Samson replied, "If I were tied up with 7 new bowstrings, I would become as weak as anyone else." The Philistine rulers brought Delilah 7 new bowstrings, and she tied Samson up with them. She also hid men in one of the inner rooms of her house. Then she cried out, "Samson, the Philistines have come to capture you!" But Samson snapped the bowstrings, as string snaps when it's burned by a fire. "You've been making fun of me and telling lies," Delilah told Samson. "Now please tell me how you can be tied up securely." Samson replied, "If I were tied up with brand new ropes, I would become as weak as anyone else." So Delilah took new ropes and tied him up with them. Delilah cried out, "Samson, the Philistines have come to capture you." But again, Samson snapped the ropes from his arms as if they were thread. "You've been making fun of me and telling lies. Now tell me how you can be tied up securely," Delilah demanded. Samson replied, "If you were to weave the 7 braids of my hair into the fabric on your loom and tighten it with the loom shuttle, I would become as weak as anyone else." As Samson slept, Delilah wove his hair into her loom, but again, Samson broke free. Delilah pouted, "How can you tell me I love you when you don't share your secrets with me? You've made fun of me 3 times now, and you still haven't told me what makes you so strong." Delilah kept nagging Samson until he shared his secret with her. "My hair has never been cut," he confessed, "for I was dedicated to God as a Nazirite from birth. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me." Delilah lulled Samson to sleep with his head in her lap, and then she called in a man to shave off the 7 locks of his hair. The Philistine rulers came with their money in their hands. Delilah cried out, "Samson, the Philistines have come to capture you." Samson suddenly realized God's power had left him. He was powerless. The Philistines captured him, gouged out his eyes, put him in chains, and forced him to grind grain in prison. But before long, his hair began to grow back. The Philistine rulers held a great festival, offering sacrifices and praising their god, Dagon. They said, "Our God has given us victory over our enemy Samson." The half-drunk people demanded, "Bring out Samson so he can amuse us." So Samson was led from prison so they could jeer him. Samson said to the young servant leading him by the hand, "Place my hands against the pillars that hold up the temple. I want to rest against them." The temple was full with about 3,000 people on the roof. Samson prayed to the Lord, "Sovereign Lord, please strengthen me just one more time. Let me pay back the Philistines for the loss of my eyes." Then Samson put his hands on the 2 central pillars that held up the temple. Pushing against them with both hands, he prayed, "Let me die with the Philistines." The temple crashed down on the Philistine rulers and all the people. So, Samson killed more Philistines when he died than he had during his entire lifetime. Samson had judged Israel for 20 years.